Howdy.
Howdy.
Just a couple comments from last week's game, and then we'll move on and get to questions. I thought our guys came out early, ready to play. No question about that. The one thing that we've got to continue to improve on is, and we work these situations. Anytime you have a sudden change, you got to be ready to respond. Not real happy about the way we played after we got the roughing the kicker penalty and extended that drive in the first half. Our demeanor needed to be a little bit better. We had another situation that we handled really well, but we got to be consistent with that. Got to be consistent with it. Had an opportunity to play a lot of players. Had an opportunity to take some reps off some guys that have been playing a lot. It was a good day, from that standpoint. And now we move on to Mississippi State, who's a really quality team. Offensively, they do a great job. And I'll just start taking questions if that's okay with you guys and ladies, excuse me, as well.
On the right side, Ben.
Coach, how would you assess the way Caper Smith played quarterback last week?
I was pleased, and we've seen it, and obviously, it kind of gets to the point to where you get tired of practicing, and I don't think he anticipated playing this many plays in a game, at this point in the season, but he did a good job for us, and we need that. We need to continue to build depth, and he took advantage of the opportunity, and I couldn't be any more pleased with how he played.
Stay on the right side, Gabe.
Chief, could you walk us through the challenge of facing Fitzgerald? He's got a great quarterbacks coach, obviously, in Mullen, but he's also a big guy that can run and throw.
Yeah, he's their leading rusher, and he does a tremendous job, running their zone read scheme, and it's a lot of times when we start talking about zone read schemes, there's so many different schemes within that phase, and a lot of that is designed for him to block. For him to run the ball. The blocking schemes are designed for him to run the ball, and he takes advantage of that. And he's a big guy that's physical that you're going to have to tackle. And they've been a little bit of committee, running backs by committee, playing 3 or 4 guys. They've got a wide receiver that they'll motion back in the box, and, he's a good quality tailback for them back there. But they've really, relied on it, and you got a guy like that that's that big and physical to run the football, then certainly you give it to him and let him run it, and particularly in short yardage, So, you got to be ready. You got to be accounted. He's got to be accounted for, and when you start talking about accounting for him, that's on the perimeter as well as inside.
Right up front, Brent.
A&M has had a lot of success under Coach Sumlin on the road. How have you seen how he handles things maybe similar or different than, say, Coach Fulmer or Coach Miles in his approach?
Well, I've never thought about that. What I felt that I needed to do is when I got here is to be a part of his system. And certainly it's a proven system. Coach Sumlin, I don't have to say this. It should be known. He knows what he's doing. And certainly, he's put this team in a great situation. And as an assistant coach, what I got to do is follow his lead. And the things that he believes in have to be the things that, when I say have to be, and that means me falling in line, I have to believe the same things. And if you do that, then you got a chance to be solid throughout your program. And I couldn't be more excited about working for anybody, and I've had an opportunity to work for some Hall of Fame coaches in the past, and I certainly think that Coach Sumlin is that quality of a coach that he will be a Hall of Fame coach. Now, he's probably not going to enjoy me saying that, but he's that quality of coach. He knows what he wants. He's got things in place, and it's a continuing cycle. And football has changed, during the time that I've been in it. It's changed tremendously, and I think he's been ahead of some of the curve there, which is, speaks volumes.
Is no walkthrough on Fridays, is that a little different?
Well, I'm not going to go into detail what we do on Friday, but I'm not going to say we don't have a walkthrough on Friday.
At the stadium, I'm sorry, at the opposing stadium.
No, geez, you go play football. I think that's overrated. Somebody wants to get the kids in the stadium. Look, our kids play in this stadium. They're not going to go anywhere that they're going to be overwhelmed when they walk in there. And and I don't mean that negative towards anybody else, but I think that part's a little bit overrated. And I think it always has been. I think in my mind, it puts some burden on kids. You got to move them, you got to get them there, and particularly when you're playing where you're going to be 40 miles away from the stadium from time to time, and then getting to that stadium, spending that time. So, you wake up on Saturday, you get ready to go play football.
Standing in the back left, Colin.
Coach, with the playoff rankings coming out tonight, just how fun is that for you guys with the month left in the season to be in the running for that?
I don't know that we are or aren't, and to be honest with you, my focus is on Mississippi State. You can't worry about things that are out there. I mean, there's a lot of football to be played. Certainly we want to play well enough that we want to be hopefully considered, but it's about what we do this week. We got to go play well this week to make anything happen, and then we got to play well the next week, and then the week after that, and then the week after that.
Stay on the right side, Olin.
Actually, my question was addressed, but since I have the opportunity, John, if you don't mind, you've had a lot of success. Kids obviously play for you and respond well. Was there ever a time when you ever considered pursuing a job as a head coach, and why is that something that apparently you have not?
Well, there were opportunities, and I did interview one, and I wanted to have that experience, just to have it. But really, I've had an opportunity, to coach at 3 outstanding universities in the SEC, and it's hard to think about taking a step back, and I enjoy winning, and I want to be part of a winning program, and winning has always been more important to me than saying, hey, I was a head coach. I mean, I enjoy doing what I'm doing. It's great to be a defensive coordinator, but even when you break it down from that point, I love coaching linebackers. I love the relationship that I have with those kids in my room, and I'm not so sure that I'd want to spend a bunch of time doing a lot of other stuff. It just makes sense to me, and like I said, I've been blessed to be able to coach at 3 outstanding universities, and and who knows what the future is going to bring. But honestly, I really do, and I mean this. I'm not saying it to be nice, and somebody said that I say things just to be nice. I don't say things to be nice. I say things because they're true. I hope that I can finish my career right here at Texas A&M.
Go to the back, standing, Daryl.
Coach, I think Mississippi State's wide receiver Fred Ross pondered the thought of maybe going to the NFL. He didn't. He has certainly put up some pretty good numbers. Can you just kind of talk about his talents that he will possess and how he's kind of a thorn in your guys' side last year, and he may be it again on Saturday?
Well, he's an SEC player, and certainly you see great receivers every week, and he fits that category. He's a competitor. He has great speed, great quickness, and like I said, it's not unusual to play against guys like that every week when you're playing in this league, and he's one of the elite receivers in this league. There's no question about that. Capable of making plays, and has done that for quite a while. If you ask my opinion, I wish he was in the NFL catching passes, but we didn't have anything to do with that. So,
On the right side aisle, Gabe.
How valuable is it to have a piece like Wilson, who's played free safety, strong safety, nickel? He's played a little bit of corner, and what's he done in his development that he can handle all that?
Well, obviously he's matured. When you start talking about that, and I'm talking, and it takes some mental maturity and understanding, the positions and understanding, his job and being able to go do his job and do it effectively. He's been well coached. I've said this plenty of times. Terry Joseph has done a tremendous job with him, as well as our Terry Price and David Turner. You see how much better our front is playing. So he's getting good coaching, but he's responding, and that's what he's done. And he's a talented athlete. I've said that plenty of times, and all those things are factors in that. But really, the mental process of growing and maturing has been where I've seen the most movement from his standpoint.
Left side, Cease.
Follow up on David Turner. When did he first catch your eye, and what sets him apart from his coaching style?
Well, there's a lot of things, and obviously, Coach Sumlin, makes those decisions. But, when you're going to sit in that room, and when I talk about that room, I'm talking about our defensive staff room. The first thing that you want to do is you want to be around good men, and it starts there. I've done this for a long time, and I promise you, there's been very few times in my career that there's been a problem in that room, because I've been fortunate to have been blessed to be in that room with good men. And then he's a great technician. He takes pride in his work. I mean, as all our coaches do. But I think that's the thing that sets him apart. He's got experience. He's been in the SEC a long time. You look at his career, wherever he's been, his players have played well. And, same thing with Terry Price and same thing with Terry Joseph. And it's a blessing, to be in that room. And, sometimes, when we do things as well as we need to, sometimes the coordinator gets, too much credit for it. Those guys are heavily involved in everything we do. And it's a blessing to have, those three men in the room and be able to work with them on a daily basis. I enjoy coming to work. It's truly a joy.
Front right, Sam.
Kind of off topic, you were part of a historic game 5 years ago, quote unquote game of the century with Alabama and LSU, very defensive, physical game. What are some of your most vivid memories from that game?
It's winning was the first memory. I mean, obviously that's always, but being able to play in those kind of games, and again, that's, when going back to the question that was asked earlier about being the head coach, I mean, the opportunity to do that and be a part of those games, in any capacity is special, and that's where you want to be. It's you get used to coaching on the big stage, and you want to coach on the big stage. And to be quite honest with you, that was why I was so excited about coming to Texas A&M. And like I said, we got to continue to get better, but Texas A&M has a chance to be on that big stage at some point in time.
With some of the way the trends are going offensively, what's the likelihood you see of another game like that 9-6, very defensively dominated, to happen again?
Yeah, I'd say not very likely. Even though there's some really really good defensive teams out there, it's tougher. It's tougher now than it used to be. I mean, like I said, you don't have to go back too far, but you can dial it back a few years ago and. You gave up 300 yards, as a defense coordinator, you didn't feel very good about it. Gave up over 17 points, you didn't feel very good about it because those were kind of the landmark that you had to establish to be a winning football team. And, offensive football has changed, and I'm not going to go in a lot of detail, but even from a rule standpoint, some of the things that have happened because they want to see the excitement. They want to see teams score, but that, you can't use that as a crutch to say, okay, it's okay to do go out and give up yardage or do things like that. You still have to have that standard. But, I don't think it's real likely, but if it is, I want to be a part of it.
Daryl in the back, you'll wrap us up.
Coach Justin Evans grew up a couple hours from Starkville. He gets to go back and play with the Cowbells this weekend. Is it exciting for him? Do you kind of see a little more twinkle in his eye as he gets ready to play a team from his home state?
Not really. I mean, Justin Evans loves to play football. He's going to compete. He's going to give you everything he's got. I haven't seen or didn't last year when we played him here at home. Didn't see any change in him. He's going to be even keel. That's kind of his makeup, and he comes ready to play. And I tell you this, you're talking about a mighty, mighty fine football player. And I've watched him in 2 years, and I'm not sure that he's not as good as any safety that we've ever coached. And I'm proud of Justin and what he's getting done. And a lot of that is because of who he is. And heard Coach Sumlin talk about where our team is now and things that are signs of that. But I've done this for a long time, and in terms of the makeup, and I'm just talking about their approach and their willingness to do what they're asked to do. I'm not sure I've been around a better group of young men, and that makes it exciting for me. It makes it exciting for Texas A&M. But I think our fans and everybody else needs to know that this is a great group of young men, and Justin's just one of many.
Thanks for your time.